See this right here? This is why he is so great. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Chris Acklin here from Iron Tribe Weightlifting in Melbourne, Australia. Today's video, we're going to ask the question, why is Matt the best snatcher in CrossFit? So Matt is the most successful CrossFitter ever. He's also the most consistent CrossFitter ever. He's won 5 regionals. He's placed first at the Open, I think 4 times. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 times. And he's won 4 games after placing second twice. I think what makes Matt great, other than his attitude and his willingness to suffer, is his consistency. Weightlifting rewards consistency over a long time. It also rewards consistency at big competitions. It's not always the person with the biggest entry total who ends up winning. This has been highlighted at the games multiple times. Matt doesn't always step foot on the floor with the biggest snatch or the biggest clean and jerk, but normally ends up taking close to the top prize every time. This is due to his consistency in training and his consistent training over a 10-year period. We can take a look back at his snatches from 2012 and 2011, where he snatches 130 and 132, and they look pretty similar to the technique that he's using today. I'd even argue that his technique has gotten better over that time. So let's break down Matt's technique and see what we can learn from it. Every single time he approaches the bar, he approaches it the same way. He grabs the bar the same way, he has a dynamic set position, and then he pulls himself into the bar and then pulls on the barbell. We're going to break it down into set position, first pull, second pull, transition, and then his catch position. So Matt starts with a dynamic start position. So he rocks his hip up and down until he finds, or until he's ready to go, and then he hits his set position, which is the same every time. He's not just bouncing up and down randomly and then looking for a position. He knows where he's actually going to pull on the barbell. We can show you, and I'll do it later, we can show you snatches 3 different weights, at heavy through to light, and they're all going to look exactly the same. That set position is going to be the same. Let's break down the set position. So he's done his dynamic start, and then he's pulled himself into the barbell. His shoulders are over the bar, his full foot is contacting the floor, and everything is tight. When we go into the first pull, so for the first pull, he pushes the world away, so he's pushing straight down into the floor. He fights to hold his position. As the knees come back, his shoulders stay over that barbell. His arms are long, and the bar is really tight to his body. So with the second pull, again, the arms are long. When he gets to about mid-thigh, he explodes straight up. He finishes nice and tall. And again, the bar is super close. So even though he's pushed the barbell up, it is still close. There is no pushing the barbell out in front. When we look at the transition, he stays attached to the floor while changing direction. So it's only about here do his feet come off the floor. The bar is crazy close. It looks like it's about to touch him. His elbows stay above the bar for as long as they can, and he actively pulls himself down into that snatch position. In his catch position, he's super patient. He doesn't rush to stand it up. When he does, he's actively pushing up on the bar, and he stands up and then celebrates like a boss. Cool. If we look at this 137 from the Dubai Games, let's go relatively slowly through it. So pulls himself into the position, full foot, shoulders are over the bar, fights to stay over the barbell. As the knees come back, the bar still stays nice and close. He explodes nice and vertical. Look, he's still on the floor as he changes direction. He doesn't just jump and leave the floor, and he actively pulls himself into that nice bottom position. He takes his time at the bottom position. Once you know he's got it, he stands up and then celebrates again like a boss. So that is it, guys. That's all you need to do. Do all those steps and you can snatch like Matt. Let's focus on the big pillars. Number 1, we want our start position to be the same. So don't do dynamic start until you know exactly where you're going to start from every single time. Use your full foot to push down into the floor. You always want to keep the bar as close as possible. Jump your feet out and down, and then hold on to that barbell. The goal when learning the snatch, just like any other technical movement, is to keep it as simple as possible. I wouldn't focus on all of these, and I wouldn't focus on a full snatch from the get-go. I would focus on potentially a high hang so that we can build that pattern up. But all of these are going to ring true regardless of the positions. You could argue over knee angle and back angle all day long, but every weightlifter is focusing on this. So my suggestion, guys, do this with weights that you can replicate over and over again. Don't be married to the weight, be married to the movement that you're after. If at 40 kilos, it looks like rubbish, you catch it high, you wobble a little bit, and then you squat down, and at 30 kilos, you can catch it nicely in the bottom of a snatch. It doesn't matter if your one RM is 50 or 60 kilos, 30 is going to benefit you more. If we look at what Matt does, 50 kilos during a WOD, 60 kilos during a WOD, 84 kilos during a WOD, 130 kilos, all of his set positions are the same. His movement patterns are the same. The only time they look any different from his main snatch is when he's doing tap and go reps. And even then, all of his tap and go reps are identical. While you're focusing on trying to make your snatch look like Matt's, and you're keeping the weights relatively light, you can get strong as hell everywhere else in your training. You can squat heavy, you can still pull heavy as long as the positions. You can squat heavy, you can push press heavy, you can still get as strong as a house. But focus on refining your technique. Matt didn't get there just by forcing a square peg through a round hole. He got there by meticulously focusing on consistently. He got there by, just like what every weightlifter does, is they go in, and even if the day says 80%, if the movement's not there, you got to go back down. This doesn't mean that we need to aim for perfection. If your technique is around 80% of what you want it to look like in terms of like positions, then you can refine that over time. You can fight that position and you can bump it up over time. But if your technique doesn't look anything like what you would like it to look like eventually, in terms of catching it high, riding it down, then it is time to go back down in weight and focus on hitting the movement pattern that you would like to hit when you hit that 1RM later, when you hit PBs later, when you hit whatever it is later. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!